And this is Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life here for Spiegel Mom's Scrap Shop. And today I'm going to do this layout about my son turning 3 using all scraps and a few different elements from the Spiegel Mom's Scrap Shop. My goal here is to create a layout with sequins that doesn't scream, you put a bunch of sequins on a boy layout. So that was kind of my goal for today. And I really think that I was able to accomplish it. The first thing I'm going to do here is just line up my scraps of pattern paper. This is seriously, I just pulled this out of my scrap bin and these were the sizes they were, so it's what I'm working with. But somehow they all came together and I really love the way that they looked. So knowing that I needed my photo to pop just a little bit, I'm also using this really pretty teal color. And then I'm going to back it with a yellow. And I'm trying to figure out which yellow I want to use. The two I'm starting with here, they're just too bright, but this one is actually the perfect blend and mixes with that other piece of pattern paper. And because these are all pattern papers from completely different collections, I'm trying to match them and keep them as cohesive as possible. So what ends up happening is I get my basic layers down here, and then I'm going to go off camera and do a little bit of tracing with my black Sharpie on a few of them, and then tape everything down because I just was kind of hemming and hawing over exactly where I want to go from there. I do know I want to use one of these cut apart pieces, so I decided to go with the yellow one. So I had a pop of yellow on the other side of the page because this is very one-sided at the moment. And it just says today is, and I'm going to put the date on there. And then I'm going to grab the yellow sequence from a mermaid's tail. This is a beautiful sequence mix that is, it's not super girly, I guess would be the word for it. And so I find that the yellow in it is the same kind of sunshine yellow, that it's just got the same tone to it. So it worked really well. And I just placed 6 of them on the little viewfinders to have, again, just pops of yellow on the layout. So I'm really liking that. Like I said, went off camera and did all of my taping because who wants to watch someone tape? And now I'm going to work on my top cluster here. My goal is to have my top cluster, my journaling, and then the title at the bottom. So I grabbed this little heart that I had left over from last month's collab that we did with Creative Embellishments, and I'm adding 2 sequins and a little gray heart. So the other sequence comes from Holiday Traditions. It's the blue in that sequence mix. I grabbed another yellow from a mermaid's tail, and then I grabbed a gray heart felty. The second heart felty you see is now placed on my photo. And as I'm working on my title here, I'm going to cut the letter I from birthday, and I'm going to place my third felty heart on that so that I've got a triangular effect with my gray hearts there. The other thing I knew I wanted to do is these, these stickers are black with little white kind of specks in them. And so I decided it would be neat to paint them with my shimmers instead. So instead of being white specks, they'd be yellow specks, and it would just give that extra pop of yellow that I'm kind of looking for. And I'm really digging that. I'm then going to go into this mode where I start to use mixed media, and it kind of ran away from me, and I don't like the finished look to it, so I do actually end up changing it. So I think where my first mistake was is right at the beginning. The color I'm using right now is not the right shade. It's too blue. And so when I mixed that and then I added the yellow and then I just kept adding things, it wasn't working. And I just should have started with a teal color to begin with instead of a blue, and maybe it would have worked just a little bit better. The second part where I kind of messed up is that I use a Recollections mist that you're going to see in a couple minutes, and I use it to splatter. Well, Recollections aren't very high quality mists, so when I did that, it kind of soaked up and just looked like an oil ring, and it just was a disaster. So what I end up doing, which I did off camera because I was just so frustrated, is I just simply trimmed all the pattern paper, placed it on a fresh sheet of white cardstock, and then just use my yellow shimmers, and that is a colorings called not See You in the Morning. It is called Mandarin Mai Tai. So I love this yellow color. It's beautiful and I love to use it. So I used that, and then I mixed a bunch of watercolors and shimmers and just a bunch of things to make my teal be the same teal as the little strip that I added at my top cluster. I mixed them to go right down the middle of my page, and then I layered all of the embellishments, or excuse me, all of the elements I had for my layout already, and just replaced them. Use this little bit that I had left over from the color that I mixed on that, and I painted another little border to the right, excuse me, to the left of my layout. So you'll see that there ends up being a little bit wider of a gap there, and I really like the way that looks. It was nice to have another added element of mixed media, but subtly. So the other things that I'm doing here is, you see I added that big 3. I liked the color that I had used for that, but it's kind of overwhelming my photos because those 2 small photos are as big as that number. So that's going to change. You're going to see that I use a different one here. I'm waving at you thinking I'm done, but I'm not. So as you can see, different now. I did stitching in black so that there was added black to that side of the layout. I added a little tag and again did a little bit of the tracing with my Sharpie. There's the change on my number 3. I added the little sticker that said awesome, along with another sticker up there that it says I heart you to the moon and back, I believe. And then just added a little bit more to my title by saying my favorite birthday boy. And that is going to wrap up my layout for today. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye!